Hello, I'm Dolly Curtis, and today I am in Norwalk at the Park Animal Hospital, and with me are three wonderful people and animals. This is Dr. Lewendy, the veterinarian. Hi, Dr. Lewendy. His assistant, Ed Larson.
Howard.
And Rosie, the beautiful black lab, right? Is that her name?
That's right.
So, Dr. Lewendy, tell me what's going on here with Rosie. But my first main reason to tell you that I'm coming is today everybody's thinking about being outdoors right now that it's summertime.
Yeah.
And summertime and pets is just a real important topic because of all the difficulties that your pets can get into in the summertime. And I thought you might be able to talk to us a little bit, share a little bit about some things people can do to keep their animals healthy, their cats and their dogs, in this coming summer that we're just about approaching.
Okay.
Well, what about Rosie? Why is Rosie here?
Rosie here today for annual checkup and vaccination, and we're going to proceed now with the annual checkup. And hopefully
Okay.
she's
So we're going to snoop and watch. I hope Rosie doesn't mind.
Sure.
We're going to watch Rosie get a quick checkup.
okay. All right. What's the matter, Rosie?
She nervous because she probably doesn't like so much. So you check her eyes.
Yeah, I'm checking her eyes now. I'm checking her mouth and her teeth. She's just
They usually
scared.
she's scared, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
she's just scared, yeah, but she is good. She's very
First of all, she's scared because she's here, and
Yeah.
secondly, she's being on television.
good. She knows, huh?
So that would make her. So now what are you doing?
I'm checking her eyes.
How often do you see someone, I mean an animal, like Rosie? How often do you encourage people?
Usually about either once or twice a year.
Really? As much as that? They have
Yeah.
people, is it what, by their age? If they're older, do they come in
They
more
when they get
often?
older, definitely we see them quite often.
Okay, what else happens?
You want me to give her the vaccine now?
We're gonna vaccinate. Will she
Yeah.
get nervous?
No, she's not gonna even feel it.
Okay.
We're just gonna check it out.
Why is that? They don't feel the vaccination while they
Because
get,
mostly it's under the skin and they have enough skin and this sensation
Okay.
in the skin. Not
Right.
human. I'm checking her heart now.
how old is Rosie?
About 3 years.
And she's a good sized animal, isn't
Yeah. She was well kept and healthy. Yeah.
she? She looks real healthy, the animal. I'm sorry, Rosie, but I'm sure it's good for her to get vaccinated.
Definitely.
Definitely. We need to talk about that too, about what you suggest for people's pets
Sure.
in terms of being vaccinated, how often and what vaccinations. Because people have to, if they're gonna have pets, as we all know, they have to learn to take good care to keep them healthy.
We're gonna
Okay.
give her now the rabies shot.
This is the rabies vaccination. Does it need to be
Right.
done every year or
Yeah,
every,
it's myself. I prefer the once a year.
once a year?
It can be done. There's two different type of rabies vaccine. One can be given
Every
every
3 years.
One is every year.
Okay, all right, well, that looked painless. And that's gonna protect her then and the owner as well
That's
from a very dangerous situation, which is the rabies situation. Okay, and now what's gonna happen?
I give her also another vaccine, a combination of distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis, and parainfluenza with parvovirus. It's 4 or 5 vaccines in one shot.
Wow, that's a lot, isn't it?
It's very important to have that every year also.
Now, is she gonna just remain calm for this too?
She is not gonna feel it.
Okay,
She is not.
that's wonderful. Okay, might she not feel so well later today, though? from all of this?
There's no reaction.
No reaction, huh?
No reaction whatsoever.
That's wonderful that these things are available and can be done so easily. All right, is that gonna do it?
Also, there's another vaccine called Lyme vaccine, and we give that also intramuscular, and this against Lyme disease.
And this will protect her from getting Lyme disease, which is just a terrible problem right now.
That's the
I wish this was available for people,
Yeah.
because this is really
You
making...
feel that, right?
No, she didn't even flinch at all. She's so well behaved.
Okay.
Okay,
The other two important things is the fecal exam also should be done once a year to check for internal parasites, and blood test, a simple blood test for heartworms. Very important, make sure she doesn't have heartworms in order for you to give her the preventative medication, which is 1 tablet once a month to protect her.
now you
against
told
that.
me that there's something now that can be done 1 tablet once a month, which is quite a new and wonderful, efficient way of keeping
No,
these animals.
I think we've been in the market for a lot of years.
Oh, yes?
Once a month, yeah. It's much easier and simpler than to have it daily.
Okay.
That is daily.
Well, thank you, Rosie, so very much for coming and sharing and letting us snoop in on your examination, your yearly examination, and you've been great. All right, Ed. You want to bring the cat in so I
Sure.
can see? I'm going to talk about... Well, while he's bringing the cat in, I want to talk to you a little bit about summertime, that we have all kinds of things, all kinds of difficulties that dogs and cats get into. And I understand that dogs get bitten sometimes. They get into bees, they get into wasps, they can mess around with snakes, because people tend to let them run a little bit, and they really shouldn't, should they?
That's true.
Well, can you tell me what happens in that kind of situation? If an animal gets bitten,
Bitten by.
bee, wasp?
Okay, bee sting always cause allergic reaction to the animal. It depends the site of the bee sting. And sometimes you see angioedema and swelling of the face and all this type of reaction. Can be very painful.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's important to get to a veterinarian right away sometimes?
Sometimes very important as an emergency to bring to the vet right away, especially if it shows a lot of reactions.
Really? Just same like with people then, huh?
Something, yeah.
All right, well, bees are definitely something that animals, now here we have this beautiful long-haired cat. So, cats get into problems in the summertime. Fleas
That's
are a
right.
big, big problem. 'Cause-
Fleas is a big problem for dogs and cats, actually,
Mhm.
and even humans.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the problem is the pets bring the fleas into the
Yeah.
house, and then they bite the owners,
That's
and
true.
it's just a...
That's true.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about flea protection, because I have 2 cats, and by fall.
Right.
Fall is a big season for that too, isn't it?
Yeah, and summertime too, because fleas they stay mostly in the warm area, warm spots. And sometimes in the summertime, you'll see due to the heat and high temperature, fleas will be all over.
Okay, so what can anybody do? I mean, up until now, I've been told you have to have the cat bathed, you have to put a balm in your house. Is there anything that people could do that would be more simple, that wouldn't
Yes,
involve?
there's a new medication called program. And this program is in cats, there's a liquid form can be given to cats once a month.
How would I do that for my cat?
You
I'd
can
like
mix
to
it
do
with the
that.
food once a month, and there's also for dogs would be 1 tablet once a month. And that's very good because it will stop the production of the fleas, new fleas, and also
This infestation of fleas that you get in your house, Dr. Wonder,
it's
it's terrible.
It's terrible because it can cause severe irritation in human too. And
Oh, really? I didn't know. I just
a
knew it
lot
was
of people have-
uncomfortable, it's itching,
Not only that,
bites.
yeah, allergic reaction to human too, to the irritation of the skin and inflammation and all things.
Okay, also with the pets, both dogs and cats, we gotta talk about ticks, because there is this vaccination that helps
Yeah,
dogs, not for
I just
cats.
gave Rosie a vaccine
Right.
against Lyme, and this is transmitted by ticks.
The ticks get on the dogs and cats all the time. People
That's true.
talk, they have to remember to check them every day. Run their hands over, especially the eyes on cats. And
Right.
on dogs, where do the ticks, I'm sure that the ticks get on the dogs and they come in the
Ticks
house.
all over, mainly on the head.
On the
But,
head,
you will
same
see
like-
the ticks all over the body.
and people have to remove them. They have to really learn not to.
Yeah, it's also tricky. Sometimes people remove and then leave part of the legs inside, or sometimes because it has to be removed right and should be cleaned after that.
Or with a tweezer.
With a
And pull
tweezer,
straight
yeah,
up?
straight up and put it, and you hold from the legs and get out.
And pull straight up, and then afterwards you should put some
You
antiseptic
shoot
on it?
some antiseptic or some alcohol, yes.
You know, actually, your hands shouldn't be really touching it either, because sometimes when you
Usually you
remove a
don't
tick,
remove it by hand, you remove by forceps, so.
By
that's
f-
either-
but people at home have to understand.
Tweezer, yeah, definitely,
Tweezer,
yeah.
fine,
Very fine pointy tweezer, they can just pull out the
What-
tick or anything, it's no problem.
what do you do with cats when they come
Yeah,
in?
sometimes it's difficult because
Yeah, I
if you
know,
have a
it's
lot
a-
of ticks, then you need a tick bath, you need a dip, you need a lot of things to get rid of the ticks. It's not
Oh, so they
something
get on
just-
their eyelids and the very fragile places on cats.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a nice cat.
I had a dog a month ago. He was infested with ticks, thousands and thousands of ticks, thousands and thousands of ticks.
Really? Now, will that dog get sick? I
Uh,
mean, that, you
They
would
came here
know.
only for, for a tick bath and a dip, and explain to the client that this can be a source of infection to Lyme disease.
Right, parasite, in
Yeah.
fact, parasitical
Well,
infection.
mostly Lyme disease.
Yeah, which is a parasitical infection, and what it does is it can leave the animal lame and arthritis.
That's true.
Right, I understand that animals do a
And it's
little,
also a serious disease for human too. So if
Right.
it sticks on the animal, the human can catch that very easily.
the biggest problem that I see is that the animals can bring the ticks into the house, and then they drop off
That's true.
the animal,
That's right.
and the tick then is on your couch, or people let animals on their beds, which they really should not do,
Mhm.
especially in the summertime.
That's true.
And then they get bitten, the nymphal tick is so small. Well, it's a beautiful cat, I just don't know if we can get her here on the camera. And what is she here for? I mean,
She's here also for annual vaccination and checkup.
and what do you do with the cats?
Cats, she need the complete physical examination, and then after that, we'll give her the vaccine if she's healthy. The vaccine is a distemper with upper respiratory virus. It's called calicivirus, rhinotracheosis, calici, panleukopenia, and pneumonitis, which
Wow.
is chlamydia. It's a lot of vaccines together in one shot.
And they do well
We
with
give
it
her
too.
Also, yeah, rabies shot, rabies vaccine. We do give her also the FIP, which is a feline infectious peritonitis vaccine.
Most of the cats you see, are they kept indoors? I mean, if the cats are kept indoors, then they don't have,
If they are
All these-
strictly indoors, they don't go outside at all, I don't think they need a feline leukemia. Feline leukemia only is for cats that goes outside.
and they also
Because
don't
the-
get ticks
yeah.
on them, and then they also
Yeah.
don't get in these other problems
Right.
with bites.
Yeah, feline leukemia only transmitted by nose-to-nose contact, and also
Oh.
has to be another cat in order for them to catch feline leukemia. That's why for outdoor cats it's recommended to check them for feline leukemia. If they're negative, then you can give a feline leukemia vaccine.
Okay, and stool samples on cats?
Physical exam annually has to be done because fleas transmit tapeworms, very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fleas transmit
tapeworm, yes. You see, fleas transmit tapeworms, ticks transmit Lyme disease, mosquito transmit heartworms for a dog. So it's transmission from every angle.
What's the problem with heartworms on dogs? Is it a big one?
Heartworm disease in dogs is a very serious disease, and even the treatment is very drastic, very costly too. And people, if you understand that to keep the animal on a preventive medication, definitely they will protect the dog against heartworm.
Okay, so it's a minor thing if they would do it on a monthly
That's
basis.
monthly basis, one tablet once a month. And this medicine in the market is called Interceptor. And it cover also heartworms and cover intestinal worms. Some intestinal worms like hookworms, roundworms, and whipworms. So actually are covering a wide band of worms beside the heartworm.
Hmm.
And it's very important to save yourself a lot of headache by giving this Interceptor once a month.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is everything, if it was done on a biannual or annual basis with animals, as well as doing these monthly heartworm treatments, would protect the animal in such a way as you wouldn't get into major diseases or
That's true.
infestations.
That's true.
So it's
They
just
say
a...
an ounce of prevention
I
worth
see.
a pound of
I see, so it's all
Good.
prevention here with the animals. Now, another question with animals is people take on pets because there's a over explosion of cats and dogs and so many of them aren't housed properly. And people don't understand they have to neuter them. Or they do understand, but it's expensive, so they don't follow through on that.
That's why I have the client education video and the waiting rooms and exam rooms for people when they come and they watch that so they know what the dog and cats need every year.
And in terms of neutering and spaying, the cats I know have to be done, the females at 6 months.
It's very important to do that. So long as you're not using the cat or the male or the female for breeding purpose, I think spaying the female and neutering the male is the best,
Thing to do,
solution. Yeah.
solution, especially for animals that go outside, like for cats when they're
Yes,
outside,
well,
they need to be
First of all,
altered.
just to eliminate unwanted puppies and
Right.
kittens. Also, female, when you spay the female, you prevent the cat from getting breast cancer or tumors or
I also noticed it doesn't,
uterine infection. The cat's not going to be in heat anymore. There'll be no heat cycle
Right.
anymore. There's just a lot of advantage of having the cat spayed. Same thing with the male. During the male, you protect the male from a lot of problems. Cancer in the testicles and same thing with the spraying and urine become very strong, the odor become very strong and
so it's much more
Yeah.
comfortable living with the pet than if they're altered,
that's true.
especially inside the house pet. All right, well, now that it's outdoor times, the dogs are wanting to run, through the brush, and
Yeah.
because it's fun for them, and they need exercise anyhow.
They
And
need
so,
exercise, yes.
but that's where the ticks are, when they're
With
running,
the ticks, with the fleas, with every
and fleas.
mosquitoes, with even wild animals.
See, that's,
They catch rabies from that too. When they are, in the bushes, there's a lot of raccoons and a lot of.
that's a whole nother thing that we haven't talked about, is the rabies problem, which luckily hasn't been as very, very upsetting as they thought it was gonna be in this area a few
That's
years
true.
ago. But it is still a problem that people need to be
It's a problem
educated.
everywhere.
And so what does that entail? I mean, rabies, dogs are running, if they're not on a leash, when they're on a leash, of course, it's a much better situation, because then the
Right.
owner's in control.
That's why rabies now is mandatory. I mean, every animal, whether a dog or a cat, should be vaccinated against rabies by law.
By law, I know it's been made a law.
And if not, they fine the person if he has an animal not vaccinated. It's very important to do that because the communicable disease can be transmitted to human and people can catch that and it's fatal disease.
Fatal disease, it's also a very uncomfortable. All right, so can we put this beautiful long hair back into her little house where she was staying? Thanks, Ed, so much for bringing her. She's beauty. She's the
Give her
beautiful
the
cat.
vaccine later on.
Okay.
So we have so many things going on here now. It's a complicated, having a pet is complicated. I mean, people love their pets
It's not complicated if they do it freely.
and do it often. You mean,
Yeah.
once a year, at least
true.
once a year. And let the veterinarian, who's the person like you are with the knowledge, determine what needs to be done.
That's true. That's true. All animals, whether dogs or cats, should be vaccinated, should be checked annually, should be. It's very simple and very cheap to do that.
Dr. Llewellyn, tell me a little bit about older cats and older dogs. I have a particular interest in that myself, the geriatric part of taking care of an older animal.
Okay. Older cats particularly sleep more and become change their habits when she get older. The metabolism slow down. All the organs not function the way it should be.
Okay, I see that.
That's why they need a complete physical every year, blood chemistry, CBC and blood counts. They need urine analysis, fecal exam, check the animal for bumps, for lumps, for tumors, all these things, because cats have a tendency to develop a tumor when they get older.
What's the lifespan of a cat? I mean, I have a cat that's 17 human years.
Lifespan, actually the average lifespan of cats between 12 and 15 years. But the cats can live up to 20 years and I have cats almost 19 years or more than still.
Now, do they get into certain problems? You had said something about bladder and kidney
Right.
problems.
When they get older, definitely the organs are not functioning the way it should be. They get bladder problems, bowel problems, they get kidney problems, and
Now, how does the owner, pet owner, know how to take care of some of these things? 'Cause they,
cats sometimes they drink more than it should be. Normal, they lose their appetite, they become restless, lethargic.
they're thin,
They
the
get
muscle
thin,
tone
they
is
lose
different.
weight. The muscle tones, especially the back limbs, they get weak. They get periodontal disease, which is infection in the gum. They get a lot of problems when they get older.
Is a dental problem, I never hear people talk too much about dental problems with their pets.
You see, dental problems can be a very serious problem in animals, pets and dogs and cats especially. Usually they develop plaques gradually.
Okay.
Plaques. The plaques on the teeth,
Just like people.
like people. And if you don't clean these plaques,
Right.
they become like calculus.
Right.
And you get like, a starter.
Just like
Like
people then. But
same
with
like-
people, they get their teeth cleaned
And then
often.
you get infection between the gum line and the teeth, and that's called periodontal disease. The periodontal disease attack the gum tissue and attack the bones even.
Okay.
And annually they should be cleaned as a routine, teeth cleaning and polished.
Oh, so I see. This is just so much like people, everything that
That's
you're saying.
exactly- A lot of animals, they get a kidney problem from that, and they get bladder problem. They get, it's like poison. Poison in the body.
So geriatrics is a whole separate area with pets.
That's true.
Now, tell me a little bit about operating, because I know you do a lot of operations, and what does that entail? Everything, I'm sure. I mean, you have such a beautiful place here, all set up for everything.
We do most of the surgery that can be done on dogs and cats here. We do some exotics too.
Exotics meaning what, when you say that?
Exotics means snakes.
Oh, really?
Birds.
You're trained to do that? You told me you work with birds, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the day when I was to come and speak with you, you know you had an emergency surgery, so I know you
Right.
work on an emergency
I had
situation.
an emergency surgery, cancer in the lower jaw, and cancer is about 3-inch tumor,
Wow.
and we had to amputate part of the lower jaw.
So you're not afraid? You have lots of skills then to go into it,
I've been
take
doing
on?
that for over 30 years.
Really? You don't look old enough to have been doing that for over 30 years.
Graduated in 1965, January 65.
Where did that?
I graduated
Did you
from
get your
Cairo University, Egypt. I got my training here in American Center, New York, and then University of Pennsylvania, and then went through another.
You have this charming accent. I wasn't sure. So it's Egyptian,
I am Egyptian, yes, by birth.
which is so unique in our area. The Egyptian population doesn't seem too large.
Not much.
Not much. But you came and you've worked in Norwalk for a while? Have you been in Norwalk?
No, yes, I've been in Norwalk for almost 2 years now. Before I was in, I started in New Jersey, and then Bridgeport, Trumbull, and then here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. It's a real addition to our area. You have a beautiful place here that's totally set up with, as you were showing me, ultrasound.
We have ultrasound, we have all kinds of equipment.
Everything, complete operating area,
Our blood work here, we do the blood work here too.
and
Our
X-ray,
chemistry,
blood chemistry,
X-ray, and everything.
everything done right here. A person can come into Norwalk and have everything done. Well, it's just so complicated, having a pet. People love their pets. Some people love their pets more than they love their own family because pets are
It's
so
part of the
loving.
family.
Right.
It's part of the family.
They're very loving, the animals. They give back so much.
That's true.
They don't ask
Exactly.
much in return.
They don't.
What do you have to do, though, to keep a dog healthy and happy? I mean, other than you have to do more than just, you have to watch them when they're outside so
See,
that,
number one is the exercise,
Exercise?
good diet, and good exercise every day.
so
That's the most important.
exercise
Diet and grooming.
and grooming,
Yeah.
okay? So exercise because every animal, like every person, has to move.
Exercise is good for the pet, is good also for the person, owner.
okay?
So.
And diet is important.
Yeah.
And
It depends, especially depend on the age. If it's overweight, you have to go through certain diet. There's diet for overweight animals. There's diet for skinny animals. There's diet for healthy, sick
Well, I
animals.
knew you were going to make this so complicated. And then there's the grooming, which is just so
Grooming
important.
is very important. First of all, the client, when he grooms his pet, could be able to feel if there's any lump or abnormal swellings in the body. Also prevent tangling the hair.
Right,
And the
mats.
skin becomes less irritated, because every time you have hair tangled, the skin can become more irritated.
All right, so also in taking grooming the animal, the dog or the cat, if they're ticks, you feel them.
You see that.
You don't see them, you'll feel them.
That's true.
And then you're saying all these other bites also, if a dog's suffering from bee sting or some other sting,
Yeah.
if you're playing with the pet or grooming it, you'll feel it. You might know why the
That's
dog
true,
is
because
unhappy.
this is just an owner examining his pet when he brush him out or groom him at home, something like that. It's very good.
Very good.
And he can see things before it starts to get more wild.
More, so it's before the problem starts to develop further. Then they can call you up or another vet or whoever's handy to them and get some attention for the pet.
That's true.
As we tell people over and over, you can't just have a pet and not follow through on all the responsibilities.
That's true. Today's pets are more costly and
Well, it's the cost factor that keep people from neutering and spaying pets, but you know, there are programs where they can have
Yes.
things spayed.
Yeah, that's why I did the low-cost spay and neutering here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do that. I charge very little for spay and neutering. Also, I give for almost 2 years free rabies shot for all the dogs and cats in the community. I try to help as much as I can.
I see. So you tried to do what you could, and it's very giving of you, because I know this is a very intense business. Well, it's an intense life, because I know when I tried to call you the other day, you were in surgery for about 4 hours, so I can see that it's not,
Well, it was one of the major surgeries that kept me longer than surgery room as well.
that the cancer of the mouth, the jaw with that dog.
By the way, the dog is doing well now.
I understand the dog is doing very well, and that's only in a few days, so that
Few
must
days.
make you feel very good. Do you feel very good about,
Yeah, I do.
you seem very much sort of just happy here doing what you're doing. It seems to come from you. I feel it.
Put it this way, when I'm in the surgery room, as if I'm in
Really?
the church.
It's like you're in the church. So everything is out of your mind then, and all other concerns in your life when you're in the surgery room.
That's right.
And everything that we've talked about today, folks, I mean, we try to tell you that dogs are running a little bit more now because they want to be outdoors and you want to be with them outdoors. So they're running into the brush and into the tall grass, and the ticks are there. You got to be concerned about the rabies situation with rodents, raccoons, squirrels, skunks. Dogs get bitten by bees, they get bitten by wasps, they can play with snakes, I hear. So they're just, just being active and just being curious, which is what they are, and next thing you know, they get into a problem. You need to get some attention from a veterinarian, whoever it is that you use, so the animal does get into further difficulty. They've got to be brushed, as you say, groomed daily or at least often, fed well, and you've got to take responsibility for these wonderful creatures that give back so much to all of us. We need to do for them as well. So, Dr. Lawrence, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have learned a lot.
Thank you.
And come again, actually.
Definitely.
But with my pets the next
Be my
time.
pleasure.